Solar panels sound like a great idea. Save some money, help the environment, increase your home value, right? Well, here in Arizona, I'm actually seeing solar panels kill more deals than help. And if you're buying or selling a home in Arizona, you need to understand the risks, the pros, the cons of solar panels. If not, it could cost you thousands of dollars or worse, even kill a real estate deal entirely. Hey guys, it's Carl the Fly Agent. I help busy professionals relocate in and out of Phoenix metro area, and I'm here to tell you what to beware of when buying a home or selling a home with solar panels. So today I'm going to break it down so that you don't walk into a bad deal. So the first thing you want to find out if those solar panels are on a lease or on a loan. And either way, it's going to affect the amount that you can qualify for when buying a home. It'll affect your debt to income ratio, and lenders will take that into account, and oftentimes it can affect the buying power. Almost every time it affects the buying power, but it is important to know when walking into the deal to talk to your lender to see how much that's actually going to affect your buying power, because you may walk in thinking that you can afford this home, but when you take into account the solar lease or the solar loan payment, you might not be able to qualify. So that's the first thing. Find out whether it's a lease or a loan. And the other thing about that is if it's a lease, you're not going to own the solar panels at the end of that lease versus a loan where you finish paying off the solar panels and you actually get to keep the solar panels on your home. If you're looking into a home with solar panels and you need to review the deal, I'd be happy to review it. Book a call in the link in the description below, or grab my free 90-day home buying flight plan guide. How long are you going to be stuck with those solar panel payments? Most loans and most solar leases last 20 to 30 years. So a previous homeowner that thought this is a great idea, that thinks it's adding value to the home, is actually creating a potential problem for the next home buyer. And the truth is, homeowners on average own the home for 5 to 7 years. So when you're committing to a 20 to 30 year lease or loan, that is going to become somebody else's problem to deal with. And guess what? The next buyer may not share the same positive sentiments that you did when you signed up for that solar panel lease or loan. This is where things get real. What is the actual cost savings of solar panels? What you want to do during your due diligence period, your inspection period, typically 10 days here in Arizona, but that can change according to the terms of the contract. But you're going to have to do extra due diligence to see if these solar panels are actually saving you money. What you want to do is find out the average electric bill in homes in that area, and then you want to see what the actual bills are from that home that you're buying with solar panels. And then you have to incorporate the lease or the loan payment to see if there's some actual savings there. So you want to take into account the monthly solar payment. You want to know what the average electric bill is for homes in that area. And then you want to see what the average bill of that particular home is with the solar panels. Oftentimes, what you'll see is that you're just replacing one bill with another bill, right? So if that homeowner thought it was a good idea to put in solar panels, maybe it was equivalent to the previous power bill, but they're being green and they're being environment friendly, that may not actually translate into monthly savings with solar panels. Now let's get into specifics about Arizona. We have two major power companies here, APS, which is Arizona Public Service, and then we have SRP, the Salt River Project. APS uses a time of use rate plan. Solar customers often get export credits that becomes credit to the bill at the end of the month for any excess power that they produce with the solar panels. But those credits are actually lower than what you're paying for electricity, so it's actually not a one-to-one trade. Let's talk about SRP. SRP has been more restrictive historically. They use demand charges and time of use pricing. Excess power created by the solar panels is compensated, but often at a much lower rate than what you're paying for power. With SRP, solar plans don't really benefit the homeowner as much as they think they would. The big takeaway here, these power companies can change their policies at any time. So what may have been a benefit when the homeowner originally put those solar panels on may not be a benefit when you come in and buy that home. So it's really important during your due diligence period to get your agent to ask those hard questions and maybe even go directly to the power company to see what their current policy is for the solar panels, and also ask the listing agent for what the current bill is over the last trailing 12 months to see what you can expect when you purchase that home and what your power bill might be once you move in. Okay, here's a big one that people overlook when purchasing a home with solar panels is the maintenance and warranties. You really need to look into the company that first installed that solar panel and make sure that they are still in business. So a lot of times that you overtake these solar panels, a lot of these companies have gone out of business. So what happens to the warranties? What happens to the coverage? You need to make sure you check what those warranties are. There should be inverter coverage, panel warranties, labor coverage, and find out who actually services them. Is it the original company or is it a third party that you have to pay an extra charge to come out and do these maintenance issues if you were to use the warranty? The best thing to do here is do a little bit of research, look at the original contract that the homeowner signed, research if that company's still in business, and then actually reach out to them to see what the response times are, to see how helpful they are before committing to a long-term lease or loan with solar panels. This one catches people off guard: roof maintenance. So if you're buying a house that maybe needs a new roof or roof repair in the next couple years, this is something to keep in mind, because those solar panels will have to come off first before any maintenance to the roof can be done. So typically roof companies now, since they have to deal with this quite often, they have some sort of third party that will remove the solar panels and put them on after the roof repair is done. But sometimes that voids the warranty. So this is where you really want to look into the paperwork, find out if you need that company to actually come and remove the solar panels so you don't void any of those home warranties. So this is going to be an extra charge no matter what. If you have to do roof maintenance and repair, the solar panels do have to come off before, and then they have to put back on properly after. So this is something most homeowners and most potential buyers overlook, and you need to keep that in mind when purchasing a home with solar panels. This is a small but real issue in Arizona, is birds. Now, birds like to go under these solar panels. Sometimes poop debris can actually go on the solar panels and accumulate underneath the panels. So in Arizona, it's recommended, I always recommend my buyers that once a year you have somebody walk the roof in general for broken tiles to see any cracks, because water can seep through those broken tiles and ruin the underlayment. But now you have something else to think about with solar panels, especially if you notice a difference in your power bill. Most likely there's something happening to the solar panels, and it could be bird debris or some other thing that happened during a storm that is causing the solar panels not to produce as much power as before. So once a year is a must to walk the roof, but with solar panels, you may even have to do it more often to ensure that those panels are working the best for you. Another thing we touched on before, but I want to touch upon again, is knowing which company is servicing your solar panels. A lot of these solar panel companies and installers have gone out of business. For instance, SunPro Solar restructured into ADT Solar and then eventually just shut down their whole solar division. So you need to look at the company, you need to try to reach out to them. Another company like Titan Solar Power, they faced a lot of financial issues, eventually shutting down their doors in 2024. So if you have solar panels that were originally installed by these companies, you might want to second guess buying that home, because it might be your problem to deal with moving forward if they haven't transferred that service to another company. And that's something to definitely research before your inspection period ends. When these companies go out of business, warranties become unclear, service becomes really hard to get maintenance and call them, and it really means that you're stuck with the problem. So make sure you do your due diligence on all these companies. Now let's talk about the ideal scenario when purchasing a home with solar panels. The best thing that could happen is if those solar panels are paid off, or if the seller is motivated and maybe has a balance that is pretty reasonable, they may actually pay off the solar panels prior to closing so that the buyer, which is you, walks in with a home that has the benefits of solar power. At the end of the day, if they're paid off, and even if they're producing a little bit of power, that's going to reduce your power bill significantly. So the best thing to do is do the research, inspect the solar panels, look at the monthly bills, and then maybe negotiate the seller to pay them off if it is a loan. Now, if it's a lease, you might want to ask them to pay off the lease, and then you can make the decision whether you want to continue the lease or have the company actually come and remove the solar panels, because you may not see the benefit as the previous homeowner. My personal opinion on solar panels in Arizona: yes, solar energy is definitely useful, and I think it could be harnessed and it could be of great benefit to us in Arizona, especially in a place where we get sunshine year round. However, with technologies increasing so fast and improving so fast, when you lock yourself into a 20 to 30 year lease payment or loan payment, who knows what kind of technology can come and really benefit us as solar users. And solar panels hasn't really gotten to the point where I think it's a real benefit even to people in Arizona, because the policies and the power companies, they're not really compensating homeowners fairly. And if you're moving every 5 to 7 years, you're really just passing the buck on to the next home buyer. So do your due diligence. Even if you're a homeowner right now and you're thinking about solar, really do your due diligence, because the advantage in Arizona is probably at a minimum when you incorporate those payments and compare it to what you're actually paying on the regular. When you're paying $100 to $200 a month for a solar loan or solar lease, is that really benefiting you? When during the winter here in Arizona, our power bill typically is around $60 or $70. And then you average that out with the summer months where it can get up to $400. Yes, it's really hot, and at those times you wish you had solar. But then what if you locked yourself into a lease payment and you're paying that $200 even during the winter? It kind of is a wash to me. So until the policies change, until the power companies really compensate the homeowners better, until the technology improves, I think solar panels are more of a nice thing to have than a real benefit to homeowners. If you have any questions in the Phoenix metro area, please check out the links below, book a time with me to talk, or get my 90-day home buying flight plan guide free at the links below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.